out the Gospel of John, where Shadid thinks he finds a prophecy of Muhammad. I mean, it couldn't be any worse. I mean, yesterday, I thought there was a huge elephant in the room. He couldn't see Jesus in Isaiah 53. Now he does see Muhammad in John chapter 1. I mean, I'm not trying to be offensive, but, somewhat tongue in cheek. I mean, I can't help but think, what do you call that? What do you refer to the phenomena of a person who can see somebody in a place where he's not and not see somebody where he is? Okay, that's not a good place to be in. Isaiah 53 speaks clearly of Jesus as the Messiah. John chapter 1 and the whole gospel clearly speaks of Jesus as God. And he said Jesus denied that he was the prophet like Moses. Jesus explicitly affirmed that he was the prophet like Moses. He said in John chapter 5, he says, you put your hopes on Moses. He says, but Moses wrote about me. I'm the one Moses wrote about. It was all about me. Luke 24, Jesus told the disciples on the road to Emmaus, in all the scriptures, beginning with Moses and the prophets, everything that was written concerning himself. And how much was Jesus like Moses and Muhammad wasn't? Jesus had intimate, in fact, eternal, unbroken, face-to-face knowledge of the Father. For all eternity, he dwelt face-to-face with God. John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with, the literal Greek, prostantheon, the idea of face-to-face with God. And the Word was God. By very nature, he was deity. Did Jesus perform miracles? Of course he did. Shadid keeps mentioning one. He pretends that proves he's not like Moses. What did he do? He fed the Israelites in the wilderness bread and fish and so forth. He fed a multitude of Israelites. He did draw an analogy between that and himself, and he said that I'm the true bread. That's the point of distinction, right? It's not that he didn't perform miracles like Moses, but that he's the true bread to which all of that points. And this is what I can't, when I do these debates, and I said before, I do them, first of all, my ultimate goal is to glorify the Christ who loved me and gave himself for me. I also do it out of a love for people. I want them to know this Jesus who can save. Muhammad can't do any of these things. But for the life of me, the thing that always gets me when I do this is why people kick against the goads. Okay, what's the payoff here? What's the payoff for denying something that's so patently obvious, right? What's the payoff for rejecting the one whom Moses did write about and distorting the passages to make them talk about somebody he couldn't have possibly been talking about, right? Throughout the writings of Moses, God is a father. Throughout the writings of Moses, it's the sacrificial blood that makes atonement. None of these things are taught by Moses, and I could go down the list, right? Moses abominated the sorts of behavior that were on full display in Muhammad, right? Muhammad wouldn't have lasted a day under the Mosaic law. Muhammad would have been stoned 10 times before the day finished, given his conduct. He taught things contrary to the truth of God, and he behaved in ways that were contrary to the truth of God. The idea that he's the prophet Moses is talking about doesn't make any sense. It is not what Deuteronomy teaches. It's not what the rest of the Tanakh, the Old Testament, teaches. It's not what John teaches. Muhammad is not there. He's simply not there. Now, I have said that he's not there positively. There's no positive affirmation of Muhammad as a prophet. But there are numerous statements in Scripture warning people against false prophets. And interestingly, one of the fundamental marks of a false prophet is that he denies the coming of God in the flesh. You'll note that Shadid constantly tries to play off different titles for Jesus as if one negates the other. It just shows he doesn't understand what these titles mean. He said things like Peter says he's the Son of God, not God. The way the term Son of God is being used for Jesus in the New Testament is clearly as an affirmation of deity. Godhood, I got to say that because the dictionary definition of that has, I think, been lost on Shadid. Deity means God. When I say Jesus is deity, it means he's God. When Jesus called himself the Son of God in Scripture, he's identifying himself as deity. John chapter 5, classic text, same gospel Shadid is appealing to. Jesus said, my Father's been working to this very day, and I too am working. In other words, he's been working throughout the past up until the present, and so have I. And the Jews wanted to kill him because not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but was even calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. That's how the phrase was used by Jesus, and that's how it was understood. You can't play this title off of Jesus being God, as if he can only be one and not the other. That's not how the terms were used. So I conclude simply by saying Jesus is clearly spoken of in Scripture in these passages. Muhammad is not, could not be. And there's no benefit, there's no payoff to denying Jesus and embracing Muhammad.